Hello, welcome back to Overwatch Everyday. Yesterday we were continuing our support playthrough. I believe we went 4-0 yesterday, which is I'm very happy about. I'd love to see it. Hopefully today we're going to try to squeak our way into Platinum through our placements, and maybe if we have time we can even just wrap up those placements altogether. But we'll see how the games go. Looks like since it's a little bit earlier in the morning, we might actually have a longer queue time here. So I saw a few comments on some of the previous videos regarding like aiming, especially on the support videos and the one where I played Kiri. And I just want to talk about aim a little bit quickly, since the mechanics aren't necessary to climb, but they can be extremely helpful, especially on heroes like Baptiste, Kiriko, Mizuki, Zenyatta, Lari. It's a very useful tool to have in your in your like player skill set. So if anyone's interested in developing their aim, of course it grows and you get better with aiming as you play more and as time goes on. But a really nice way to actually train your aim and improve it at a much faster rate is you want to be going into a custom game and importing the code VAXTA. What this is it's an in-game Overwatch aim trainer made by the custom game creator Seda, which basically you have a challenge mode where you're going to be shot at, you're going to be having to dodge dodge like bullets and abilities, fire strikes and whatnot, while trying to still kill as many people as possible. And the more you are able to kill in a time frame, the higher level that you'll go to. So it can go up to level 20 with your starting level, but you can see here a lot of like top players, pro players can get up to certain levels like 45, 30. Around like generally if you can get into the late 20s, you're going to be feeling pretty good about your aim. But usually I just like to do warm-up, especially whenever I have some longer queues. So a lot of the time people will move in erratic patterns. And you can adjust how they move as much as you want with these settings up here. You want to use your interact key to actually change the settings, or I'm pretty sure you can just click. No, it has to be interact. So if you want to see here, if you want them to sort of straight line, then you can set it to very easy, and you can see there's going to be very long time in between any direction change of the bots. So if you really just want to like nail down like a projectile or something, or just like waiting until they walk into your crosshair to click, you can set it to be super slow. Oh my god, wait, I need to warm up. Wait, I don't want to go in the game yet. No, my aim felt bad. Oh well. You can change it so that they would bounce up and down if you want to be better at vertical aiming or trying to track people as they fall. You can set it to very hard, where there's going to be very short amount of time between directional changes in the bots. And a lot of the time, do whatever is comfortable for you, but just being in VAXTA in general, especially during longer queues, is an amazing way to sort of maximize your time. It helps you warm up for your games. It will help you improve your aim over time. I usually just like throw it in anytime that I'm in queue, because it's just so nice, and it's a really good habit to get into. There are other like more nitty-gritty aim trainers like Kovacs or Vax, or not Kovacs or Vaxa, Kovacs or Aim Labs on Steam. Aim Labs is free. Kovacs is, I believe, $10. I prefer Kovacs. It gives you a much wider variety of scenarios, and you can be really nerdy and geeky with how you set up some of the aim training, but either one is fine. Aim training in general is just amazing, but if you don't want to go out of your way to get a new game, then the VAXTA code in custom games is still an amazing way to sort of train your aim if you want it to be a little bit faster than just naturally playing. So here we start our session today on Circuit Royale. We're looking to have a Soldier and a Freya with a Sigma. There's a few heroes that we can play here, leaning into a lot more of a pokier direction. We could play Zenyatta, we could play Alari, we could play Baptiste. Kiriko's always safe. I'm not the biggest fan of Mizuki here, just because I think Mizuki's biggest strengths is sort of laning, but I do believe that he is possible. You can play Mizuki if you'd like here. Other heroes like Juno or Lifeweaver are also super viable. I think we might actually start on Juno. You can also play Brig, especially with our other support going Ana. There's so many options available. Why I'm picking Juno? While I think that there's a lot of options available, I really want to be talking about the use cases of speed as well as Juno's cooldowns, because I think that they can be commonly misunderstood. We see our Sigma go down early, so we're just going to be making sure that we keep everyone inside of our LOS as much as possible. My Juno controls are not set, which I need to fix in just a moment. Now with Juno especially, your job is going to be prioritizing a lot of healing. So when it comes to positioning on Juno, you want to make sure that you're in spots to see as much of your team as possible. And for missiles, you want to try to be getting into spots that makes it difficult for your for the enemy team to shoot. So you want to try to be playing kind of close around corners if possible. But we are not going to be able to keep our Sigma up, unfortunately. We're just going to try to stall the card as much as possible. And now I can change my Juno controls. I'll be a lot more comfortable. I didn't even remember I had custom controls on her. Hero. I think it's this. Oh yeah. I just like having a release for my missiles because it makes things pretty simple and easy. We will be going down. We're going to try to trade out as much as possible and keep everyone up who we can. But things are looking grim. Especially for our Ana. I'm going to see if we can actually get to them. We are not able to. So we're just going to keep up everyone that we can. We have our Ray online, and Ray is going to be one of our very strong ultimates in the game. So we're going to ideally try to get our ring back, especially now that wall is out. We're going to ring up, we're going to Ray up. I'm making sure that I get the touch and letting my Sigma take over for me. And they will almost C9, but I'm not able to step up. I don't have my ring to try to help with that, but we are going to be able to kite to the high ground, and now this point's going to be very strong for us to hold. While we've been struggling the past 2 points, I think the first one was kind of on me for not being ready to carry my Sigma. I walked out spawn a little bit late. As well as second point, I took same thing. I was just a little bit late to the fight that really mattered. Because I was changing my controls, but we can probably hold things here. Now with the hazard, we need to be making sure that we are ready to live as much as possible. Pumping a bit too much damage into my Sigma, so with that being the case, since I'm trying to heal as much as I can, and it's not going to be enough, we are not finding the value that we need to over or out of our healing. So idea that we can adapt to can either be finding or swapping to a hero that's going to help deny the enemy team from their doing so much damage, or to make up for it with damage ourselves. So we're just going to try to keep up our RAM, but unfortunately I did not have the best ammo management, so we will not be able to. Hazard gets onto us, so we're not able to touch, unfortunately. But we do take their hazard out of the fight for a while. gives our Ram a chance to sort of sit on the point, and hopefully that will peel enough attention away so we're able to clean up the fight. We have our Ray coming back, which can be very, very, very helpful for us winning. I want to make sure that I get some healing on my Ram. And I'm actually going to pop this Ray here, making sure that my Ram doesn't die so I don't have to get onto the point later, since if I'm on the point, it's going to be a really, really, really sticky situation. We do pop our Ram as well, but like I mentioned a little bit earlier, since our healing has not been enough value to actually be winning this game, we're going to be looking to try to find other value somewhere. It can be Brig, it can be Lari. I think that we're going to be going Zen for our purposes, though, since they are on the Mei, they're on the Hazard. They're going to be wanting to get really, really... Oh my god, I don't have any control set. I'm going to go through after and make sure that I fix everything. Or fix all my settings. Because they want to be playing, like, to get onto us a bunch and brawl, I'm going Zenyatta because it will cut their brawl time in half. Discord Orb, even if you're not hitting your shots on Zenyatta... if they want to be having like super like long extended brawls onto you, like where the Hazard wants to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, Discord Orb is an invaluable cooldown or ability to just sort of stop that from happening. As soon as you put Discord on a tank, it effectively like takes away 30% of their health. So it basically makes it so you just chunk all of their armor instantly. Our guy gets blown up, so now this is where Zen's other sort of value comes in, where they can just kind of clutch up sometimes miraculously. Our Kiriko's on the point. I'm trying to live the most I can, because the longer Zen lives and the more uptime you can have with your Discord Orb, the more damage you're going to be doing overall. Here we see our Kiriko going down. We're very, very close to our Trank. If our Ram is able to live just a second longer, it's going to be looking really good for us. I'm popping Trank as soon as I get us to just make sure that none of my teammates die. And Orisa, while she's still discorded, really, really important if you're going to be playing Zen to have a Discord up before you actually pop your Trank. Just because, like I was mentioning earlier, Discord's going to be like one of the main forms of getting value on this hero. While they can pop off mechanically and you can put out an amazing amount of damage, your Discord usage is going to be the main thing that's going to be carrying games. So here we're just trying to make the Orisas walk up as hard as possible. And our Ram gets walled again, unfortunately, so we're just going to try to match their aggression on to their Bastion. Throwing Orb, whoa. Throwing Orb onto our Freya when we get the chance, since we want to let our shooters shoot as much as possible. But we want to make sure that we're not overcommitting and making or giving up all of the resources we need to hold the space. So we hear the Weeding walking right side. Their Mei is cryoed on point, so there's not much we can do about it. So we're just going to try to mark out any other angles that could potentially be a threat later in the fight. So if their Wu Ying had a little bit of time to cook on that right side, there was a very real chance that they could have gotten like any sort of like a kill to maybe turn the fight. So knowing that, hey, I can't do anything on main, I can't discord this Mei, I can't help my tank anymore, I'm just going to go try to deny something else. I'm going to go try to take away other value from their team. Which is why it was very okay to just go fight that Wu Ying on right side. Even if I didn't kill him, if I just like fought him and made it so it was harder for him to get a kill, it's still a lot of value, especially when you're in an advantage state. So when you're like already winning the fight, you want to be thinking, how can I continue winning the fight? What's the enemy team's win condition? What's our lose condition? As soon as you find that, you want to be thinking about what you can do to actually like stop that or prevent them from like turning the fight back into their favor. Most of the times it's going to be something pretty like mechanically demanding from their team. So something like a Sojourn, if the Sojourn like wants to slide in with rail and maybe find a miracle pick, you want to be thinking how you can deny that, since mechanics are like the RNG element of Overwatch. And what I mean by that is you can sort of like strategize and path out most aspects of the game, but sometimes the Widow's just going to randomly kill people, you know, and we need to be ready to adapt. With Ramatra, I'm actually going to play I think I'll play some Lifeweaver. I'm going to try Lifeweaver. I don't play Lifeweaver that much. I'm pretty happy with how this game's going so far. So I'm going to give it a try and talk through my ideas on how to find value on him. So the idea with the Lifeweaver pick here is, especially because they're on the Mauga and the Bastion, I want to be utilizing my Petal and my Pull to bait out their Bastion forms. So as soon as if my Ram oversteps a little bit or is able to bait out their Bastion form, then I'm able to just instantly pull him out, and we're going to have an advantage step afterwards because Bastion form is going to be like one of their main cooldowns that will determine how we sort of play and when we can play. So I'm just going to be in a position constantly ready to pull my Ramatra, but I don't need to do anything fancy, just chuck some healing. So like that's an instance where they pop Nano onto their Mauga. That's going to be a bunch of damage coming onto my Ramatra. So we have effectively negated their Nano boost entirely by saving our pull and waiting for something to deny. Now it's just going to be another instance of carrying our guy on the point. And we will be closing out this game. Or not the game, the point. I want to be taking this right side a little bit. I want to see if I'm able to bait anyone onto me here. I'm going to get the longer dash, especially if I'm playing a bit more of a baity playstyle. It's going to just be maybe some additional value that I can get. If their diva wants to fly at me and I can dash away really far, then it could be a way to open up fights for my Ramatra. They're off of Bastion onto Mei now, so I need to be making sure that I'm ready to actually like pedal up and grab my Ramatra outside of just like Bastion forms. We need to make sure that we're not going to be caught out by the Mei wall. I'm actually going to pull my Ram back. I'm a little scared of the anti. And we are able to continue keeping our advantage. I'm just thinking in my head, how can I be denying the other team as much as possible with my kit? So I'm just trying to be ready to take away anyone that they want to shoot at when they commit something big like an ultimate. Sojourn swings us, but it's not with rail, so we don't have to worry that much. If they had rail, I probably would have tried to pedal. Mei's fighting on that high ground. We can poke them out a little bit. So now we're thinking about our tree here. Knowing that they have Coalescence, I might try to use it to match the Coalescence. Make sure that we don't have to give up any ground that we wouldn't want to give up. Or maybe Blizzard. Blizzard's coming up pretty soon. I'm going to see if I can actually greed. I don't know if tree is going to be good to sort of like deny Blizzard or counter Blizzard. I don't know the actual numbers on it because I don't play Lifeweaver that much. But it's an idea that I have and something that I want to test out. So here we hear overclock actually. So we're just going to be popping our tree to respond to their two ultimates. They use their overclock, they use their nano. We see that guy falling low HP, and I unfortunately get our Ram a little bit lost, but it is enough to keep them alive. So I'm actually going to be trying to fight this high ground now that I know that they have Blizzard and I don't have anything to really like help with it. I'm actually going to try to force out this Mei myself. And now we see the Mei backing up. They don't have their wall, and that is Blizzard coming out, but it's not on to anyone who we really are that scared of dying. So our Echo gets caught in it, but we're just able to pull them back out. And because they used the main thing that was stopping our Ramatra, and we were able to deny it and pressure it out effectively by walking at their Mei, our Ramatra is able to form up for free. They don't have a threat of getting frozen. They don't have a threat of just kind of blowing up. I think Seed is funny, but I kind of like the Needler. So here we see Nano coming out onto our front line again. We're gonna care our Kiriko right now. Making sure that our other support stays alive opens up our options for DLC value or like extra value beyond doing our job much later into the fight. So I want to care them even though both them and my Ramacha were crit. I took the chance on the fact of the idea of my Ram living, so I was able to keep my other support up, and that will be a pretty convincing win. 24-3, not a bad first game to start off the series. I think that we did a good amount of, or we got a good amount of value on the Lifeweaver, making sure that we were denying the enemy team's like ultimate abilities as much as we could, any of their big win cons. If they ever wanted to use their Bastion form, it was going to be really, really difficult to get value out of it. If they ever wanted to use like Overclock or Rush or any sort of big ultimate, it was going to be hard if we were ready to match it with our tree or our pull. As long as, even if you're trying a new hero, which I don't have much time on Lifeweaver, I probably have like 2 hours max. As long as you're thinking about ideas and ways that you can be getting value on the heroes and trying them out and understanding, recognizing, hey, this idea worked. This is a good way to use this ability, or this is a good way to get high value out of this. If you're constantly thinking about what your kit excels at and what each of your ability provides, you're going to be able to find on pretty consistent patterns to actually win games and get the most value out of your heroes. And this is going to be a constant thing. It doesn't have to just be for new heroes. A big part of improving is looking at the rest of your kit and thinking about, okay, what does my kit enable me to do? What plays can I make? What plays are valuable in these games that I'm in? So say, for example, a hero like Genji or Tracer, you can look at their base kit and go, hey, they have a lot of base mobility. They run a little bit faster than everybody else. Genji has wall climb, Tracer has blinks, as well as they're both very, very survivable. Where Tracer is able to use that mobility to disengage from fights or sort of recall to make sure that they live even if they get sort of surprised. Genji has deflect and dash. Can be very, very survivable heroes. So you can sort of conclude to yourself or think to yourself, well, if I'm survivable on my own already, then maybe I can be going for some plays that won't require me to have like a lot of healing or a lot of supports with me. Maybe I can be looking to take some space on the map that maybe my tank would be uncomfortable with, or my supports would be uncomfortable with, because I have that survivability on my own. Analyzing your kit as time goes on and thinking about what it means for you as a player and what it means for your options in game is one of the best ways or the best thought processes to sort of like try to improve and like get really efficient at heroes as you play the game and improve at Overwatch. Now, Nepal, yet again, I feel like we've been getting a lot of Nepal games. We see a Doomfist, Lifeweaver, Cassidy, so I'm thinking that I want to be something on a little bit higher mobility hero. I don't want to be getting my Lifeweaver's pull force that much or letting them waste it on me. So I'm thinking that interesting. Or maybe I'll take the opposite. Oh, Ana's banned. I was thinking about Ana. Whoopsies. We have a Mei. I'm gonna be going Kiriko, I think. It's safe. There's not too many options that we can play here. I think Ana would be a pretty good pick here. But especially when it comes to a comp like this where we have a lot of brawl, but our Winston's also going to be kind of in and out with their jumps and utilizing their mobility a lot. I just want to have another high mobility support that can output a good amount of healing, so Kiriko is just naturally going to be that hero. Ana could maybe cover up for being able to help our Winston as like with the range, but with Kiriko I just want to be able to like live myself as well. So we see our Cassidy get low. I'm just gonna be trying to hold this area, this right side for now. Ideally I wanted top left, but that does not look to be the case here. We just want to be in positions to kind of like catch our teammates as much as possible, because they're going to be on these divier comps. There's a very likely chance of their Winston just kind of stepping onto people and trying to blow them up. So we want to be prepared and putting ourselves in positions consistently to like catch that and deny as many hits as possible from the enemy team. And what I mean by a hit is like a dive where their Winston goes in, they use bubble, potentially their onion is going to like follow up. As long as, if we're putting ourselves in positions to try and care that and keep our teammates alive through those hits, we're going to be in a really, really good spot. I'm able to find a good amount of DLC value after I heal my team. And what I saw a comment yesterday about what is DLC value. Or I kept referring to it, but I don't think I explained it properly. It's just something that I'll commonly refer to. I see the game in sort of two forms. You have your job, and then you have your DLC value. Your job in each comp sort of changes, or for each hero generally changes, and your DLC value is sort of the value that you can find like on top of your job. So that's going to be things like trying to weave in some kunais, trying to like force out the enemy, or go for like 1v1s on Kiriko, or look to clean up kills on Lucio after after you get your team and into like the positions that they want to be in. Care them as much as you can. So looking for like additional plays that aren't like traditionally like a part of your job is what I refer to as DLC value. All DLC value is necessary to climb, but doing your job consistently is the most important part about ranked. If you can do your job better than the other people in your rank can, then you will climb, on at least on the heroes. So with Kiriko, my job is to be is to be healing people as much as I can and keeping them alive through like brawls and poke, and making sure my teammates are healthy enough to go for whatever plays that they want to be going for. But my DLC value is I got a gun that hurts. I can go kill things whenever my team is healthy, and I don't have anything more to do in terms of like healing or keeping people alive, I can be looking for 1v1s. I can be looking for any extra damage through main with my kunais. That's what I mean by DLC value. And Kiriko is one of the strongest heroes in the game, because while they do their job really well in comparative to other supports, they heal really, really good. They also have some of the highest skill ceiling in terms of like DLC value, where I can just start a fight by taking a 1v1 on like a side lane or a flank, and then I can TP back, I can heal up the people that I need to heal up, and then I can also end it by just going and flanking and killing again too as well. So Kiriko's very, very, very strong for the reason of there's just so much value in general to get in terms of your job as well as your DLC value. And it's why you'll see so many like high rank players just like locking Kiriko. Just make sure that they'll be able to have like some big impact on the game. Their Winston looks like they rage quit. They were struggling a little bit into our main Cassidy, so that is fortunate for us. Kind of sucks that they weren't able to enjoy the Winston mirror. At least from my experience, it feels like Winston mirrors aren't getting to be too common anymore. But it is good news for us. I think that with our specific team comp and Lifeweaver especially, my support options were a little bit limited. I would have loved to play Ana here. Unfortunately, it was banned. But making sure that we were playing a hero that could do our job properly of keeping people alive was kind of a difficult choice, because Baptiste can be a little bit harder to keep people alive because of the lack of mobility, especially if they're playing a divier comp. It can be a little bit harder for Baptiste to live and not just kind of like fight off all the people on him. With Kiriko, I can just like TP away if they get onto me. But with BAP, it would be very, very hard to actually do my job, because if they, as soon as they got onto me, I would have to stop doing everything that I'm doing. I would stop having to do my job so I could like fight off the people to live. And going Lucio, there was a very, very high chance that we actually just wouldn't have enough healing, especially in the sort of brawlier phases of the fight. I don't think I would feel comfortable or confident in keeping both my Cassidy and my Winston alive. The reason why I didn't go any other support and why I felt like I had to play Kiri is because I needed to be able to do my job effectively, and Kiriko was the safest answer and the most reliable answer to be able to do my job. I'm not saying that people can't win in these sort of situations or with these comps on other heroes, but you need to be really, really mindful of what value your hero is providing if you're going to be picking something a little less traditional in comps like these. So if I were to play like a Lari or something, it's a gamble. It's saying I'm going to be able to kill the enemy team so hard that that like the lack of healing on frontline, or like the value that I could have gotten on Kiriko with healing my frontline, doesn't matter, or my value with shooting them on Alari is going to overshine that value that I would have gotten just by healing. So it's a gamble. It's a way that you can win in ranked. For this series though, I'm going to be trying to pick some of the more comfortable and consistent ways of winning, but there are a lot of ways to approach it. There are a lot of ways to win in ranked. You can one trick to really high ranks, well, before hero bans at least. Sometimes your one trick will be banned out, but you need to be super, super mindful of exactly what you're providing to your team. And if you want to be providing something that goes very against like a team composition, or something that maybe is a little less like intuitive or directly supportive of your team, especially on support, you need to make sure that you're actually finding the value that you think you can find, and looking at yourself and your gameplay objectively and going, okay, is this right? Am I going to win by doing this? Are my numbers actually like putting me in spots to win games? And if not, then it's okay to just go what will win. A big part about being good at Overwatch is recognizing your abilities as a player and adjusting to maximize your value in game based off of your abilities as a player. So if you have the aim skill, you can lean more into aim based heroes, because you'll be able to have or find like value based off of that. But if you don't have that, you maybe want to lean a little bit further away into doing things like your job consistently, or heroes like Lucio or Brigitte, which require like a lot of game sense and sort of deny the enemy team a lot. If you're able to recognize your own abilities and strengths as a player and play to them more, it's going to be a very, very, very good tool for you in ranked. What other custom games do I have? Right, if you're ever queuing with people, or you want to fight a lot more, if you want to sort of fight like 1v1s against like a good bot, this custom game code is also very, very good. TXCXX. This is the standard 1v1 mode in Overwatch. So there are going to be 3 arenas, and it's going to be somewhat of a sort of leaderboard, or not leaderboard, like a queue system. So this is arena 1 right here in the center, and if you aren't queuing with anyone, or there's nobody else in your custom game, it'll just spawn a bot that will vary in difficulty So it starts out as what's listed as a diamond difficulty, and it will go up through all of the ranks. Basically, the champion bot just aimbots, and it kind of sucks. It gives you like a little bit of time to kill it, but the margin of error is really, really small. So that code TXCXX, if you're not really feeling like the aim training or in Vaxa, or you want things to sort of shoot back at you or just fight 1v1s, then TXCXX is also an amazing custom game code to put in while you're queuing. Here we're on Coliseo, looking like my other support wants to be playing Ana. Coliseo having that super long range first fight, that huge corridor can open up a lot of value for super long range heroes like Ana, Widowmaker, Sojourn, Ashe. But here it seems like we're going to be banning mostly melee heroes, so it's going to be looking a lot more in a pokier direction. The only sort of poke enabler hero that got banned is going to be that Domina. Looking like we are climbing our way up into Platinum here, which is quite exciting. Our other support will be locking Ana. We see a Sojourn and a Genji. With push Roadhog. Okay. With our Roadhog pick, we're not going to be needing too much heals on our front line. So for this game, I'm going to start by trying out Mizuki. Now, I have a total of literally 5 minutes on this hero. I know what they do. I scrim the game very regularly. And I see him in ranked a bunch. I know that his chain stuns. I know he can teleport back to the little thing that he places on the ground. I don't know exactly how his aura works. Okay, those numbers look kind of low. So I think that most of my healing is going to be coming through my hats, which I can imagine I can treat like brick. What? I don't even know the button for the hat, bro. Oh my god, we're cooked. So here, I want to be thinking a lot about sort of what angles I can take. I think that I can be trying to be looking for plays like that. I think that's a good idea to be looking for sort of flank chains like that, getting a lot of damage onto their backline and finding some chains to... Oh, I did not mean to press that. Okay. There's going to be a mechanical learning curve here, but I think I can do it. I think there's a lot of value to be had on this hero. I think that my initial impressions off of the first fight, I see that I'm doing a good amount of damage with my left clicks, as well as I'm going to have my mobility enable me to sort of find angles onto their backline. So I think the general flow of the hero probably is going to be walk up, look for a chain, fight a duel for a little bit, and then return back to my core. My Ana doesn't want to heal my Zarya on point, which kind of sucks. It's just their Sigma on point. I'm going to try to pressure them as much as possible. So my hat actually doesn't do that much healing. That's an important thing to note. I was sort of treating it like break packs, but it seems to be... Okay, it's 90, and it doesn't heal over time. It's instant. Okay, so it's a little bit like break pack, but it's not as much healing as I thought it would be. But I do believe it heals me, which is important to know. So I'm going to be looking for a play here again. And we do find the kill onto the Sojourn. I think that this style of just when I have my shift, I can go for these sort of big plays. I can be pressuring their backline a lot, and I'll retreat and then get back to my team. I think this is probably how I'm going to find the most value, at least in this game, on this hero. I think this is going to be good for the playstyle that I want, because if I hit a chain on somebody... Okay, we're going to need to figure out the timing a bit on that. We are able to find the kill, though. I'm going to back up. I'm actually going to ego this. And we do win that. So I think that this style of sort of like playing on the lane and playing more duelist is going to work, and it's going to be my primary value and way of winning this game. But I do want to try to get a little bit more healing in. So we pop our Dragon Blade initially, so now I'm thinking a little bit more from like an overhead perspective. It'd be really, really nice if we can find a stagger here, and I think that my kit enables me to do that quite a bit. As soon as I have my shift up, I'm going to be looking for another kill. There's no... Overclock might be something that I'd want to... Oh my god. Okay, that is hard to hit. Overclock is something that I might want to look to counter using my ult. So I think maybe for this fight, because we're already in such an advantage state, I'm going to be stacking a little bit more on my team, because I think that the most value that I can find from this fight isn't going to be from looking for kills early. I think it's just going to be stacking on my team and denying their ult value. We're going to make sure that my Ana stays alive, and we're just going to be chilling around here, always ready. How does this work? Okay, it's like tree. We hear a soldier left side. We just want to be making sure that we deny. I think that we can look to step and get a kill here. Finding a chain on the Mercy I think can be big. The gun is taking a little bit to get used to. The projectile is a little quirky, but I think that we're still chilling for now. We're still getting a lot of card space. As our Zarya goes down, we want to be trying to back up as much as we can. Looking like our Sojourn maybe wants to win this. I have max aura. I don't really know how valuable that is to stack on my teammates when I'm max aura. What? Did I just try to Suzu? The awesome thing about trying to play new heroes is like, I think my brain naturally like wants to like transfer mechanics from other heroes, so I just do random shit like chaining the floor sometimes. But this hero's fun though. I think this is better. This will allow me to play a little bit more of a flankier playstyle, or this perk should allow me to play a little bit more of a flankier playstyle, I think. Because with my hats doing a little bit more damage, I think that means that my aura is less necessary to get value out of. In terms of like my actual healing. I do happen to have decent bit of healing, actually out healing my Ana in this game. I still have not seen their overclock, and that's why I'm saving my ult. My teammates pointed out that I was saving ult for quite a while here. I want to test my idea. I don't think that it's very good in terms of raw neutral, but I think that'd be really, really good at denying the enemy team's ultimate. I think I'm using my hats a little too liberally, so I want to try to start slowing down on that a bit. Trying to clear out this Mei as much as I can here. They still don't hear overclock. Give me that! I got it. Nice. This here is fun. I like this guy. I like this guy. Also, with push in general, saving your ultimate's never like super bad thing, because especially when you have lead, you're going to be mainly thinking about how can you deny their advantages, how can you deny them taking the game into their own hands. So saving your ultimate, especially something that's really strong at denying, like Mizuki ult. And now they pop their overclock, and now they're able to do literally nothing with it because we are able to sit inside of our nice little shield bubble thing. So now their Valkyrie, their overclock don't get much value, and our other teammates are able to clean up with their own ults. I think that that's the proper way, or I think that's the best value I could have gotten out of my ultimate. Other ways, I could have maybe looked to eat their blizzard or cut off their tank if they got split, because it kind of acts like it could act like a Sigma shield. I could like zone their supports. And here, because I don't have my ultimate anymore, I don't need to worry. I can be looking back at that sort of like flankier playstyle. So I'm gonna be walking up here using my speed boost, finding the chain onto their backline. The gun still is taking a little bit for me to get used to, but I think the play in general is definitely going to be very, very, very strong. Where as soon as I find like 2 of those kills, it's going to be just like a really nice, like, just clean up. It puts a lot of pressure onto the enemy team. Here, I think I'm actually, can I just frontline it? I can, okay. Very interesting, okay. There's a lot of ways to be utilizing this hero's kit, I think. Identifying it in the moment can be really interesting. So I think in a lot of fights where I'm struggling to find flanks, or flanks might be a little bit too long, I could just like walk up past their front line, past their tank. And we are able to find a really late kill onto their Ana and make the Reinhardt turn for me. I think that's awesome. I think that since their main healer is going to be their Ana, the highest value I could get here is just spawn camping her. They pop Valk, so especially like now, they're on Mizuki mirror. Unfortunately, I might get gapped. Oh! Nah, I'm egoing. I don't gap. Oh my god! Okay, that was a little bit more of a fun play. I don't think that's optimal whatsoever. But I was just feeling myself. The Reinhardt really startled me though. But we're just gonna look to grab Blade for the rest of this, and we will be winning this game. Going 22-4, like my first actual game on Mizuki. That was fun. I like that guy. I like Mizuki. I'm gonna play him more. I think that the idea of sort of flanking with my shift up, pressuring their backline as much as I can while utilizing my hats somewhat similarly to brig packs, just trying to keep up everybody inside my LOS, is very, very, very strong thing. I think that I did get a lot of value off of holding my ult and playing main, because once we had the lead, especially, I don't think I had to do anything that desperate. I didn't have to do anything that rash. So just sort of stacking on main is perfectly fine, since we're not giving up any big advantage. We're not sort of forcing anything, and we're denying their potential play and their potential walk with their overclock for multiple minutes. So they were forced to hold on to one of their big tools that would be useful for them actually winning the game. So I think that I played that pretty okay. I think that potential value that I could be getting more on the hero would be, I could be going more for those sort of like frontline dash in chain plays instead of like actual flanks. I could be looking to play slower on lanes as well, not fully committing my shift on the walk, where if I just take an angle and just kind of constantly shoot them for a while, and then I'd use my shift to sort of walk away or run away as they stepped at me. I know this is gonna put us over an hour for the video, but we're one game off placement. I feel like it'd be just kind of silly if I didn't close out the placements. I think Mizuki, I'm really curious about the numbers. A lot of when it comes to actually determining like how you want to be playing a hero and where you want to be finding your value is just in the raw numbers. So something that's really, really nice when you're able to, and if you're confused about something, is if you're on PC, you can hit the F1 key and then the middle mouse button to sort of bring up your mouse. So you can hover over everything about your kit, and you can just read all of the numbers. And when it comes down to it, Overwatch is just kind of a numbers game. If you can have more numbers in the enemy team, that will allow you to cap the objective. It's really, really, really strong. So understanding where your numbers are in your kit is going to be really, really important for actually determining how to play them. So that's why you saw me do it a little bit at the start of that Mizuki game, trying to figure out where my value was as a hero. I saw that I had a good bit of, or like I hit pretty hard. My M1s did a lot of damage. I saw that my hats didn't do too much healing, but I saw my aura did even less, so I want to play a little bit more towards my hats and a little bit more towards my damage. And I know that chain is an amazing utility ability. utility ability. So I wanted to try to think about how I could enable that most. And with all of these sort of factors combined going on into my head, I thought about the ideal situation of, okay, what will be a play that will allow me to maximize my healing numbers, maximize my damage numbers, and this chain value. Since they had a big shield on the front line, it was hard for me to get my damage off. It was hard for me to get my chain ability off, but it was possible for me to sort of stand and use my aura. But I came to that flanking play style because it allowed me to get the most value out of my chain. It allowed me to get the most value out of my shift. It allowed me to get the most value out of my just M1 numbers, while I was still able to output healing by turning around and throwing hats at my team whenever I could. So that's how I wound up on that sort of play style, or in going for a lot of those plays. And I think that can be sort of a thought process, or you can be thinking about your kit in that way for any hero in the game to try to figure out how to best get value on them. If you're confused ever, watching pro gameplay on the hero that you want to play is going to be really good, since they've done this thought process through and through. I'll play this. They've gone through, they've thought about how to best play their hero. They have coaches who will help them figure it out, so you can see their finished answer, or the answers that they came to, just by watching pro VODs. A YouTube channel called OBS Sojourn uploads POVs of every pro match and pro game played. Or most POVs of most matches. So if you're curious about a hero, you can see someone playing them at the top level there. I'll put the link in the description of this video, OBS Sojourn. So here, talking about this game a little bit, we are on Doomfist, they're on Roadhog. Ana's definitely a fine pick here, specifically with the idea of our nade is going to be really good at denying their Roadhog, but it seems to be kind of hard for us to get our value here. It's hard for us to hit our sleeps, it's hard for us to sort of heal our teammates. So we might actually start taking angles more, because fighting that front to back is just so hard. So we're actually going to go over here, especially now that we're on Juno. We don't have to worry about healing as much, so we can be trying to maximize our utility a little bit more. Our Juno actually hates me and wants to step onto right side, so I'm going to go left to make sure that our Doomfist gets care, and they're just following me. So now that our Juno's on this left side, I'm going to step onto this right, and that way it's much easier for me to get LOS onto my Roadhog to get that nano off. We are able to get some damage off onto their core. We find the kill onto their Ana, and we're actually going to go, I'm pathing over here so that I'm the opposite side of a lot of their main threats and their damage dealers. So I'm able to fully utilize my range as Ana. And we will be kind of carrying this fight because of that. Kiriko would also be a super fine pick here, as generally will be a pretty fine pick for support. Lucia might actually be a little bit tough here, just because it's a pretty open map, and they have, sorry Juno, I don't need healing, that's a misclick. We hear the Reaper walking right side, so we're just going to try to live as much as possible. We get one tag onto their Emray, another tag, and we're able to take them down. Overclock coming this high ground. We're going to try to throw a nade at their Roadhog, and we do find it. Trying to save our Juno by pressuring out their Sojourn. There was no way that we could heal through more damage than the Overclock would do. So my only option for saving my Juno there was actually just to sort of ego and take the 1v1 against their Sojourn, and we did happen to do enough damage to deter them from shooting at my Juno. Since if they were shooting at my Juno and they really wanted to confirm that kill, it means that it would have been an advantage 1v1 for us, because they were forced to, because they would have had to like actually look at us. Since they didn't, I was super greedy with that position. I should have backed up way sooner. When their Sojourn wants to be confirming the kill onto our Juno, it means that they have a choice to make once we start shooting at them. It means they either have to shoot at us to stop them from, or stop us from killing them, or they can try to confirm the kill on our Juno and just hope. Can I win this? No. But because of that, even though they had overclock up, even though they should be able to just kind of blow off our head, we were able to win that 1v1, since they were sort of stuck on what to do between kill that guy, between cleaning up the Juno and trying to fight us. So we're going to use our speed boost here to actually just kind of walk onto the I was going to walk onto their auto, but that doesn't seem to be an option anymore. So we're just gonna chill on this high ground and support the brawl as the best that we can here. And we will be winning this point. We had a little bit of a struggle point at the beginning. Trying to play through main was definitely not the way to get the most value out of our hero. So once we started flanking, especially recognizing that they're on double hit scan, so there's not going to be like a Genji or a Tracer who's going to really excel in those like close range 1v1s to go and mark us out. Opening up that right side space and playing off of where our Doomfist wanted to be was the play to get the most value out of our heroes. And we were able to take this game into our own hands. We ended that round being 11-2. We have one of the highest damages on our team. Keeping up with our DPS here while still outputting a good amount of healing. So recognizing that our positioning wasn't working and why it wasn't working and how we could potentially shift was the key to winning that round. So here they have a Widowmaker. I'm not as scared of it because I have Headshot perk. And Headshot perk is ridiculous. So their Widow just ran it down like a Genji, which is okay for us. We like to see that. I didn't even need to necessarily kill them there or like go and fight them there. I could have probably just chilled and waited for somebody on my team to turn, but it's good to just force out the threats that you want to force out when you can. So here we know that their Widow's about to respawn, so we're just going to be looking to poke. We're going to try to keep up our team as much as possible. Unfortunately, it's a little bit harder to see our Reaper here. We see Widow on main, potentially grappling on high ground. We're just going to try to stay out of their LOS as much as possible while our team needs healing, and we probably know that their Widow's left side now. Nope, main still. Trying to just keep our team up as much as possible. Unfortunately, missed the nade, but we do have pretty good space on this right side here. So we are able to take down their Widow and catch them on rotate. We now have a bunch of really good space to try to win this fight. Miss a sleep again and miss our nade and sleep, but they miss their stuff onto us too, so it's definitely okay, it works out, but that's something that I could have been very, very punished for. Really important, like I was talking about a little bit earlier, If you want to be playing some of the aim heroes or aim-based heroes, a lot of your value will come from actually getting into the positions, or not getting into the positions. Even once you're in positions to get your value, you still need to hit the actual shot. So codes or custom game codes like Vaxa and aim training in general, and just generally practice and thinking about your aim is going to be a very, very, very useful tool and thing to keep in mind when you want to be playing a little bit more mechanically demanding heroes. So our BAP will go down. I'm going to use Nano pretty soon to actually make up for it. We see Rally used by the enemy team, so we're going to use our Nano to try to make sure that our Roadhog stays alive. Looking at this Cassidy, and they will be going down as they try to take that flank, and we're going to be continuing to hold the point. I think that their Widow might be a little bit tilted, which is definitely unfortunate for the enemy team, but it's pretty good for us. Something that I like to think about a decent bit, and I've noticed from my time playing, is that positivity can definitely go a long way in ranked, but people love to try when their team is good. When they feel like their team is putting in a bunch of work, if your stats look good, if you're like actively like in the kill feed, even if it's like extra value as like support or whatnot, it will lower your chances of getting throwers like a lot. People don't want to throw the game when they have like clear paths to win that often. So you'll see a lot of the time where these like really high ranked players will do like unranked GMs, and it'll be like, oh, but I have throwers in my games, I have like a bunch of toxic people and whatnot. It can be a really big deterrent for that sort of behavior to happen on your team if you show them a path to win. Not always the case. Sometimes people just be jerks, and it is how it is. I've definitely dropped my fair share of games to throwers, but I have noticed from my experience that it's less likely if you're like really fragging out. So here we end our placements going 10-0. We end in Platinum 4. Not the worst. I wish that I was able to get a little bit higher, but it is what it is. We'll be trying to get this account up to champ, just like both the other roles still. And with our support placements finished, we are going to be moving on to DPS next time. So tomorrow I'll be uploading a DPS video where we covered a lot of like the basics of like Vaxa and a little bit of aiming today. But I'll be getting really nerdy and talking about how to develop mechanics a lot on DPS, because especially with hit scan heroes like Ashe, Sojourn, Cassidy, Emre, you can put yourselves in the right spots, but if you're not hitting your shots, then you will find very, very little value, since so much of their value is just tied to their gun and tied to the player's mechanical skill level. So I'll be talking about how to help that, how to increase that a lot in the next few videos covering DPS. I'll also be talking about flex DPS heroes, or sort of like less mechanically demanding heroes, things like Symmetra, Reaper, like Genji, Vendetta. I'm not saying that they don't require mechanics, but something that's just not as simple as just like point and click. I'll be covering both in the placements starting tomorrow, so I hope to see you there. I hope y'all enjoyed. Thanks for watching. This was Overwatch Every Day, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye bye.